Welcome back, everyone, to a new season of the Kuttin Krew.
Yes, here we go, finally.
All right.
Finally.
Well, hey there. Thanks for letting me be here. My name is Lisa. My brother-in-law, Chris, is a frequent member of the crew. And so I got invited to come along today. So thanks for letting me be here and have a nice little chat with you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey guys, it's your Starship Captain Chris with a K, ready to lead this new age of mutants through the multiverse of supers and freaks. So let's get ready to go with this Kuttin Krew.
Wow, you upgraded.
I did. I'm working it out. I told you I'm on a mission.
I
With
like that. I like that.
I mean, this is no introduction. Patrick here, still working on my
None
introduction.
needed, right?
None needed, but I'm glad to be back.
All right, I know you haven't heard my voice for a long time, but this is Andrew, usually behind the scenes, and I'm back here on Kuttin Krew.
I'm so glad to have you guys back. And this is your host, Carlos. Thank you guys for being here. So we're going to start off with the new year. We're going to talk about a recap of 2021. But before we dive in, let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Hey guys, it's Chris with a K coming at you to let you know about a couple of my favorite podcasts, Silver Cosmos Movie Review and Wichita Vice. Join us in Silver Cosmos as we go in-depth analysis and galaxy-expanding reviews. And also Wichita Vice as we dig deep into all of our favorite comic book and sci-fi characters and storylines. Again, that's Silver Cosmos Movie Review and Wichita Vice.
All right, you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about a recap of 2021. So I'm going to start this off with you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
What'd you do in 2021?
2021 was a weird year for me. I know it's kind of looking back at our previous episode. We only got one in last year, and it was our recap of 2020, which was kind of interesting. And just looking back from that, and I know if you went back and listened to that episode, I was kind of on a riding a high at the time and looking back positively. And I tried to roll that into 2021. It worked out pretty well, I'd say, with some hurdles. It was kind of a highs and lows kind of year. Very, I don't know, it's just kind of a weird year. Like, we still had COVID, and is it gone? Is it back? Is it not gone? It was even more hectic than 2020, even though we had now vaccines and things were supposed to be getting better, and they did, and then they didn't, and then so yeah, it was just a really odd 2021. My dog lost both his eyes. That was kind of a weird thing. I've never had a dog have his eyes have to be removed, so that's kind of an odd thing to weirdly go through. Other than that, just some, on my side, some minor hiccups. There was some good sports things. If you're a Bengals fan, there at the end of 2021, and we'll see what happens coming up. But so that was kind of one of those highs, and it was just kind of a weird year. Like nothing felt consistent. I guess there was no consistency in the year, and so I can't really be like, oh, it was great, because it was just, but it wasn't. There was definitely some ungreat things about 2021, but I don't know that it was as necessarily as darkening as those things that happened in 2020. Maybe it's just the being used to some of that stuff, and so yeah, that's
Okay.
it was overall not too bad. It was just pushing through, just keep on moving.
Well, how about you, Patrick?
I mean, I kind of agree with Chris. I mean, 2020 was like, uh-oh, the uh-oh.
Right, yeah.
And then 2021 was just meh. I don't know if there was any. I think we had a lot of assumptions that it was going to get better, and as Chris was saying, that it was just more up and down. We were going to expect this. I think there was a lot of expectations of 2021, and those expectations weren't accomplishing.
I felt like 2021 is when you're driving to Colorado and you hit that Colorado line. You're like, where's the mountains?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly.
Because 2021,
yes.
you get to 2020 or 2020, you're like, all right, we're almost to 2021. Where's the mountains? This looks just the same.
yeah, that's exactly how I felt. And then, like what you're saying, how COVID, there were so many changes, different variants. There was still, again, there were so much expectations. People were going to come together, no division. People were going to be able to stop, name calling and saying you're this, you're that, and you're wrong and I'm right. But it just got worse. I think I felt 2021 is still a healing process from 2020, and I feel that the next couple of years is going to be that way. But as for me, I think the most important thing, and I think we talked about it before, is the continuing of growth and evolution. I think that's the most important thing that I learned from 2020 to 2021 is to continue to continue to evolve, and not being stuck as the same person, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel there's a lot of people that are very content of who they are, but there were people out there that wanted to grow. Even if it was tough and difficult, they realized that, since this year to this, I have seen a difference. I worked and, doing wedding planning since I'm getting married in April.
Hey, hey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, I enjoyed that. And
How hectic has that been? Because I know I had a friend that got married last year, and it was just eventually they just wound up being like, we're just going to go do it because we can't plan anything because we don't know. Nobody knows. Are we going to be able to have people? Now, I assume some of that's kind of laid out. Different facilities probably have better ideas of how to structure around COVID things. Have you guys found any difficulty here?
Well, we actually kind of did it the reverse. When we first were thinking about getting married, we actually got the venue first because we knew that we felt that if what we call them the COVID weddings, those are the ones that got canceled. We know that they were going to get rescheduled really fast. So we wanted to kind of get into the ball game. So we first got the venue first, which that was great, but not great on me because I'm assuming when you get the venue, that's the clock down. That's the countdown as when I'm going to get the ring. So I wasn't on her timeline. So there were times she kind of had a couple of breakdowns and like, where's the ring?
Some stress.
Where's the ring? We got this and this. I need to get my dress and this and so it was hard. I think the hardest part was being able to try to keep it a secret of what I was going to do because there was a point where I was just going to be like, okay, you're stressing out because she's a neuro nurse. So so she has the high stress of being a neuro nurse, still dealing with COVID patients and the fact waiting for this ring. I was about to be like, here, I'm going to get the ring and here you go.
Right.
But I was able to hold it in. And once I asked her to marry me, she was just like, oh my gosh, you got this planned out and everything. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I told her, I said, look, I was at the point after we went to that bridal fair, I was going to say here because you just be it done. But not a lot of stress with the wedding planning with like COVID or anything. I think the main stress was she was worried about the dress, worried about this, and I kept telling her the norm. And I told her, and I said, look, a lot of places had to involve, like I said earlier, businesses, and so you'll get your dress and everything. So kind of wrap it up. Pretty much she got her dress within a week after the engagement and was able to get the ring that, she wanted to get the ring. So after that happened, I kind of gave her a look and I said, remember when I said that you was going to get that? Remember that?
Don't. I'm going to be bringing this up for the rest of our
I am doing
marriage.
that, but that's kind of like my 2021.
Nice. What about you, Andrew?
Well, my 2021 started off, pretty boring, pretty about the same as every year for me. Between my job and going home and stressing out, they all meld together. But finally, I was sent to Omaha, and I was actually doing some work up there for, my job. And, well, I found a gal that was working at the hotel, which can't say her name because she can get in trouble. But, and we started talking and kind of fell in love from there. So now I travel up to Omaha, I don't know, twice a month now. I mean, it's a drive for us, about 5 hours. Not too bad, especially at night. It's just the deer you got to watch out for, but
those deers.
But at least the traffic's not horrible, But we kind of, just been kind of seeing each other from there, and that's about all I really remember from 2021.
That is fair.
Because the rest of it's just been work and go home.
Probably just planning, trying to how when and
exactly
when you can get up there and how.
Yep. And then, actually, you know what? I did start school. I actually started going to WGU. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. I know some people haven't.
You said WGU.
Yeah.
Is that? I've seen commercials of it.
Right. It's got a little owl symbol looking thing.
Yes.
I can't even remember what the heck it's called either. Something.
You don't remember your
WGU.
school?
Yeah, it's WGU.
That's all that matters.
Exactly. So, and they actually have a great online program that fit my schedule, and it was, you pay, per semester essentially, but their semesters are 6 months long. And I was like, okay, well, that's already a plus. And the courses are based off of how many you can do in the semester, not, hey, you have to have these done, in these these 5 classes done.
Okay.
But also you only have to work on one course at a time until
Nice.
you're done with it. And then you go on. I'm like, okay, now I don't have to stress about 5 courses up once.
Right.
I don't have to worry about their schedule or waiting for somebody to catch up.
And is that in the tech field that you're
Yeah.
pursuing that? Sweet.
Yeah, it's in the tech field. They have some other degrees and whatnot, but like I've taken 6 courses. I took 1 course in a week. I mean, it was because it was mostly review for me.
And stuff you knew, yeah.
Exactly.
That's nice if you're able to crank through things you already
Yeah.
experience,
Yep.
Real world that
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to read about this. I know how to do it. Move it along.
Yeah,
Wichita,
exactly.
Wichita State Tech is kind of doing that too.
Okay,
I know in
cool.
their nursing field they have like 1 course a week or something like that, 1 day
neat.
a week. So
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I've been at on 2021. I will say that I'm sticking with, sorry. I was actually worried about my health a lot, and it was starting to get kind of, rough, especially when I switched insurance this year. Yay. But the biggest thing was my girlfriend actually is diabetic just like I am, and we've been trying to keep an eye on each other, and I started showing, different signs of, that I'm not taking care of myself, blurry vision, numbness in the toes, all that fun stuff. And eventually I could have another heart attack again, which I know some people don't know, but I've already had a heart attack.
Ooh.
Yay. And I'm only 29 now.
oh my goodness.
So definitely try to take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Diabetes is very, very high in the U.S.
Yes, there is.
It just is.
Mhm.
If you really want to know about it, you can Google it, but have fun reading all the crazy articles.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I did, and that was not educational.
So how are you feeling today?
Today I've been feeling good. I've been kind of getting back on track, making sure my insulin is right. Because there's some times where you can get some lows, and you'll feel really bad and feel like you're about to keel over.
Mhm.
Those are the times that I wish I had a high, even though it makes you tired. So it's just been kind of getting that back in that balance, counting the carbs, understanding like, hey, I can't have this ice cream, or hey, this ice cream actually says sugar free, but what's sugar free is technically sugar alcohol, or
even possibly worse.
Exactly, which will, I don't know if anybody's had sugar free candy before, but a
It's
lot
horrible,
of
first of all.
Well, I'm okay with this so far, but
Let me
do you
just
have
say
a
it's
lot?
gotten better.
Yes, that's very,
It's
very
gotten
true.
better.
Yes, I remember my grandma's sugar free.
Exactly. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
referring
I'd rather have
to.
cough syrup. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Ugh. But that sugar-free candy, man, you have too much of it. Prepare to be on that toilet for a
Hang
while.
out in the bathroom.
Yes, so definitely be careful with that. Learn that the fun way. So, but yeah, I've just been kind of keeping an eye on it. Hopefully, if I do this correctly, I should be able to drop my insulin. But I'm proud a year out before I could even possibly be considered, according to my doctor. So
You just got to keep walking the
Mhm.
walk, man.
Right.
Just-
yeah, just got to move on, especially this 2022. Just trying to move forward, trying to become better. Especially health wise. I want to be, be there for my girl for as long as I can. Especially if we start a family or something like that. Plus, I don't want my friends to, miss me or something like that. So, especially all the listeners. I mean, come on, everyone's gonna
right.
miss my voice.
I'd miss you too, buddy. I would.
Oh, well, thank you.
I would. I would. How about you?
Yeah. So first of all, that's a lot. Diabetes is. I have so much respect and just it's amazing. I had a very good friend whose daughter was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes when she was 6, and I helped watch her daughter a lot. So all the amount of time that you and thought process you have to put into what you eat. Like I think about my drama with food of like, I'm hungry. That doesn't sound good. Like, that's just a whole different world for you. It doesn't matter almost for you sometimes if it sounds good or not.
Right.
You might not be able to have it, or it might be the only thing that you can have. Like, it's just a lot of people, if you don't know what it's like on the inside of, which I don't from your perspective, I don't know what it's like, you know, living with diabetes, but having to help a child who has diabetes, they don't get it, you know, and you're finding, she was 6. So how do you not take a 6-year-old trick-or-treating or tell them they can't eat the candy that they just got? You know, it's just, I have a lot of compassion and respect for people who have diabetes, because I don't think people, I think, look at it from the outside and they think, oh, well, if they would just eat better, they wouldn't have that. And you're like, you don't even understand that. It's just a whole nother world. So,
It is.
you know, kudos to you for wanting to do better with your health, because it is so important, but props to you for what it takes for you to get through a day with your food choices, because the rest of us are living on a whole nother planet when it comes to what we're allowed to eat.
Oh yeah.
We don't realize how important, like, the organs in our body, what they really do,
true.
until you don't have one that does what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
And plus what he said earlier, he has a partner who gives him accountability. So
That's-
I think
yeah,
that kind of gives him
yeah.
that extra motivation as well.
Absolutely. Having somebody to kind of go through that with is a big
Yes,
deal.
it
And
is.
we don't even need to get on this topic, but I'm going to say it because you know it. The medical world and the cost of insulin, and that is on top of the fact that you can't just go up and grab some carrots and frozen corn and a chocolate chip cookie because that's what you feel like eating, that you can't even do that. We don't even need to go there with insurance and insulin versus insulin that they give to animals and the cost difference. And I worked in the medical office management field for almost 15 years. And so I know what that is like.
Oh,
So
yeah. Tons of fun.
kudos to you for that. So my 2021, kind of like you guys were talking, it felt weird. It felt blurry. Like it kind of felt like 2020 JV, like B team. Like it wasn't really
B-team.
like
Not quite as hard.
not quite as bad.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not the same level as 2020, but kind of like you were talking, like you feel like okay, this is it. Like, whew, we made it through 2020. Here we go. Like 2021, we're all jazzed, and then it was just like nothing's different.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did something change?
100%.
Did I miss it? Like, and I mean, I'm very thankful and blessed that my job, I work from home, and so especially when you work from home, this whole time, like, just things just felt. You know, it was funny, you know, Groundhog's Day. Like, it just was like, this is like the epitome of Groundhog's. Like, every day is the same day. Like,
Yes.
I'm at home and I have a toddler at home. He's going to turn 2 in a couple months. So, like, then on top of that, you're like, everything really just, like, is very, like, microscope of your own life. And you're just like, are there other people out there? Like, I'm so happy to be here, like, talking to other adults. You guys have no idea
I've heard
what
some,
this means to me.
I've heard some people that were working from home through the whole thing, with their child and stuff like that, and they said that it felt like the world passed them by.
Yes.
Like they finally left their home, and they wondered, why is it snowing?
Yeah,
It
you
was just
feel
sunny for a second
like
ago,
you're a
you know?
year behind everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
it just feels like they're not catching up.
You're like,
you
when
know?
did that building go up?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. So my son turned 1 in 2021, so that was exciting. Then I turned 40 at the end of 2021, so that was exciting. Woohoo! A little bit of, downer. I know we all had our ups and downs, but I lost my mom this year, so that was hard. And 2 weeks before that, not even, lost an uncle. So it was just the end of 2021 was just probably from about Thanksgiving through, honestly, just the last little bit, I finally, things are sort of, I hate even using the word normal anymore,
Yeah,
because I feel
because
like
we
it has
don't
such a
know.
different meaning
Yeah,
anymore.
there is no-
You're like, you have to use normal in quotes,
Yeah.
you know, because you're like, it doesn't mean what it used to mean anymore. So things are now just start getting back to quote unquote normal in my life. But I like what you're talking about with growth. That's been something that's really been big for me, especially coming out of that grief process and having some relational grief from the year prior coming into it, I've really been focusing on reading. And I know I have a lot of friends that enjoy fiction, but I'm a really big nonfiction person, and I really like, I hate to sound so cliche and say I like self-help books, but books that are along that way that may or may not be the intent of the book, but hearing other people's stories of what they have been through and how they have gotten through it and lessons they've learned and how you can apply that to your life. Like the range of style of book that I've been reading has been big. But I just really enjoy hearing other people's stories, even hearing your guys' stories like, gosh, what can I learn from that? You know, or, oh yeah, I can totally relate to that. Like talking about your fiance at the bridal fair. I'm like, oh, bridal fairs are like,
Oh, they're awesome.
they're awesome because everything's like there, but
yeah.
then like at the same time you're like,
It's all it's
everything is
overwhelming for us.
right.
Sensory overload.
Yeah. So just I enjoy relating, you know, to other people, and so growth is something that's been really important to me. Just reading and trying to process through the most recent book that I'm in the middle of right now. It's called Saying Yes. Like how to live after the death of a dream. And I had never thought of something that way, of something that I went through in a relationship that didn't work out the way I had planned on it working out.
Or dreamed.
That I dreamed of it being, you know, this dream I had of what my family would look like. And now that dream, I hate to sound dramatic, but that because losing my mom and important people in our lives, I don't want to like take the importance away from the word death, but my dream died. Like it's not that anymore. So kind of how to get through that. I have really enjoyed learning that about myself and kind of the moving forward, the whole into 2022, you know, how do we kind of get, it wasn't his intention, but it is kind of pulling on me how to get through that 2020, 2021, the things that didn't go the way we hoped and dreamed and planned, and how to keep moving forward and how to keep saying yes after something that we just is now a big fat no.
Right.
So I definitely like that aspect of
I'm hoping after all this with COVID, with 2021 just being blah, that suddenly all of humanity just could become better in some way, shape, or form. You know, they've gone through this massive hardship throughout the world, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're being, you know, forced to deal with, you know, family members dying, friends and whatnot. You're having to deal with death around you in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, I'm hoping everybody just kind of moves forward, don't focus on it, but moves forward and becomes better from this situation.
Well, it's weird because I feel like, at least in my small circle of people, I know most of the people I know are trying to grow and get better in their lives. But then when you look at like humanity as a whole, it feels the opposite of that. And it's so weird, you know?
Yes, it does.
It is the opposite.
But I look around, I'm like, but everyone I know is trying to be good and be better. So maybe I just don't know that.
Maybe we haven't. Maybe we haven't hit that peak low yet either.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just don't know. But once you hit the bottom, of course, there's only one way to go. It's up. So.
I mean, I would say probably the best part of 2021 was the new Spider-Man movie. I mean, I think that was probably one of
the best for last.
That was the best for last. I mean, I said yes to that one.
That was a good one.
Went there watched that 3 or 4
Well,
times.
and if you liked it, then you should listen to our Vice. Was it Vice or Silver Cosmos we did on that one? Vice?
Yeah.
It was Vice.
It was Silver Cosmos.
Was
Yes,
it? Okay.
yes, yeah, we
We
talk
did-
about
it
that.
was a good one.
That was a very good one.
Carlos, how was your 2021? It was a little up and
got it.
down for you, wasn't it,
It
buddy?
was like the stock exchange, up and down. I was trying to be at the.
That's right.
But, you know, I'm glad that you guys brought this all up because overall, just to sum it up, you know, we've lost close people. You know, I lost my wife in 2021, but you know, the trade off is that, you know, being strong for my daughter, because, you know, she lightens everything up. I mean, that's my little baby girl. And in that time that I was there's some things that you talked about. You talked about reading nonfiction books. I start watching YouTube videos. A friend of mine referred me to Jordan Patterson, Robert Glover, and I started to seek ways to enhance my skills. Now, I don't have the luxury right now to go to college, which, you know, it's not at this time. But I've learned that if I just paused and learn and apply new skills, it gets me that much ahead. And so during 2020, when I wasn't able to go to the stores or do anything, I just was on YouTube watching Tiger King on my off time. And but essentially, what I got out of it is I had the time to pause and focus on what I needed to do. See, I'm not as jacked as my friend Patrick here at the gym, but I watched a lot of videos, a lot of motivation, throwing a couple little rocky scenarios in here. But the whole part is working the muscle. That's the inside. That's what I was working on. Looking at it, instead of being so narrow on things, broaden my perspective on people. And instead of being quick to understand why the people are doing the things they are, just to listen, just to really stay quiet and just listen. Why do you feel this way? We don't talk about politics or here and there, but that's when those things get intermingled, it breaks friendships, it breaks families. And then when you have all these things going on, and it's like what you said, Andrew, we need to just come together and kind of just help each other out when we're at the lows. And especially when my wife passed away, Chris, I appreciate you reached out. I mean, you guys individually helped me out through it. It felt great knowing that I wasn't alone in this. And so I thank my family as well. So going into this 2020, I used to be, I'm going to put it out there, I used to be a compulsive spender, and I struggled financially. And then what happened was during that 2021, I applied like the 52-week challenge. I applied on, learning if things were necessary to buy at the right time or not. And yeah, it's helped. It's helped. I became a bargain shopper. No,
Hey, there you go.
and thank goodness for Afterpay and Klarna. But
Are you a couponer yet?
yes.
Hey, there we go.
That's how we do it. But here's the thing, you guys. In this show, one of the key things is that we're starting to move forward by us being here.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm thankful that we're all here. So I'm gonna ask you real quick a question, Andrew. What new skill did you learn going in now but that you didn't have in 2021? Now, just tell me a skill.
A new skill?
New
Well, you've been
skill.
at school, so you've probably picked up something.
Yeah, I picked up a few things. Honestly, I actually picked up a lot of kind of a management, perspective essentially in my job, and from school. I've actually learned from one of my courses and talking to my instructor that the management area in my field, you don't have to be technical to even manage technical for some reason, which I didn't understand. But once it was finally explained, it made sense. You have to step back and look at the person doing the job, and you also have to understand, how they're doing the job, just not in the very specific areas, like, hey, how to fix this computer. You don't have to know why is it broken and stuff like that. You just got to make sure that they are taking care of it. And then, if anything, you have to step in and change the, person doing it out, not actually getting in the dirty with them. It's kind of I don't know. It was kind of a thought I always had that bugged me when I was watching my bosses work. I just didn't understand why, are you telling me to do this when you have no idea what it takes, but you want it to happen now? Well, it's because they don't. That's what their job is to push you and make you do it. And it bugged me. I just didn't understand it. So after having outside of the box looking in helped me out from my schooling. It helped me understand a lot about what needs to be done, and I'm hoping I can actually move forward and do that for the company I'm working for and prove that I'm worth it. So
That's a big step
Mhm.
to
Very
learn
big.
that.
it is.
Yeah, that's to be able to see that too, and to be able to say, when I was on the inside, not on the outside, I didn't understand it.
Exactly.
It's that's not always easy to admit that we didn't get something, and then I get it now.
Mhm.
Like for those of us that are parents in the room, when it's like that cliche of, well, when I'm a parent, I'm gonna let my kid eat ice cream for dinner whenever they want, and then you become a parent, and you're like, now I know why you're not eating ice cream for dinner because I want all of us to sleep.
Exactly.
It's just that not you don't know what you don't know, and then you
Exactly.
learn it, and you're like, I didn't know.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's I like what you said about finances, and I feel like that's one area that maybe it's just more of a 2022 growth, but I kind of count the last 2 months of 2022 like I kind of give myself a free pass for not really having a lot between my uncle passing away and being at my uncle's funeral when we got a phone call about my mom. So leaving that funeral to go be with my mom for the last days of her life, and then have my mom's funeral and Thanksgiving and Christmas and my birthday. And it just was like, I don't care about anything else right now. I'm just like, just get me through till January. And, but one of the books I just read, it's called Rich as the F Word. But the gal that wrote it, it's about changing your mindset around money. It's not your typical like Dave Ramsey how to per se of like how to save money, spend money, be more, but it is on the lines of like being intentional about your money and having a good feeling about money instead of having this negative energy around money about like, oh, it's debt. She's like, you don't have to be afraid of debt. If you're consciously saying, I would like to pay this off over a time period instead of at once, then be okay with it. She said, I pay a lot of taxes. She's like, but I've trained myself to feel okay about that because that means I'm making a lot of money. And so her mindset, it's just about changing your attitude and your energy and your mindset, but also your intentionality around when you're spending, and not to kind of spend it on those like frivolous things that you don't really need per se. Now, if it's something you want and you decide, hey, I have the money for this works for me, you're going to buy it and you're not going to feel bad. Like, so that just a mentality shift with finances has been big for me, and just kind of welcoming, like, I know some people may not understand it or vibe with energy the same way I do with like manifestation and that kind of a thing. But I'm big on that, and just welcoming money into your life and being like, however it's going to come, I'm cool with that, and I don't know. I really enjoy that mindset with it. So I think for me, it's just having a growth mindset. And I was trying to think of something maybe I had grown with, but as a mom, as a single parent, you just do what you have to do, to get through. And so I feel like I've grown a lot, kind of when you were saying when you're on the inside, you didn't know. Like my sister and brother-in-law here, they have 2 kids. And I spent a lot of time with those kids when they were young. But it was like, I swear having my own kid, it was like I'd never been around kids. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I spent countless time with them. So I feel like I grew as a parent, but just out of the evolving from my kid growing and learning what he needs and what his, things that he needs from me were. So those were big for me, just mindset. And I feel like this is a self pat on the back here that like I'm doing a dang good job with my kid as a single mom, and I'm proud of myself for.
You are.
I
Awesome.
don't want to be like keeping him alive because that seems ridiculous.
Step
but
one.
Yeah.
some days you're like, we both made it through. You're breathing. I'm breathing. We have food, clothes, and a roof over our head. Let's go to sleep. That kind of a thing, and just being grateful for that. So,
What about you, Chris?
My skill for this year, man, I don't know. It's kind of taken me a long time to learn this, I feel, but I finally kind of figured out that even though I may not be something may not come natural or may not be really good at it, it matters to keep working at it. Like it matters to keep trying and keep getting better. And even if you don't necessarily see the daily, I can tell that I'm so much better at this than I was yesterday, but maybe I can tell that I'm at least better than I was last week, or you know what I mean, something like that.
So don't fully give up.
I don't know. I think we maybe need to get some tags or something for all these books and authors we're throwing out here. Like, get some kickbacks.
some
Come on,
endorsements.
guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say that's kind of the big thing that I've learned this year, is that just it really does matter. Like, it matters to keep grinding after something, even if it's not something that's coming easy. So.
I mean,
Sure.
I think for me it's time management. I think there was a lot of stuff that I had to try to get done every day, and I always felt like I wasn't accomplished, especially working at home. I mean, that was tough, because sometimes you're in your office and you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do from this time to this time. I'm going to do this, then this time to this time I'll do this time I'll do it, and you like get so excited, and then that block of time is passing and you're not finished with that part, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll put this aside and then work on this, and so there was just so many things like I wanted to make sure to get done through like my evening. And I just noticed that I just feel more accomplished. But I think the other thing that I really worked on, I mean, I feel like I'm a good listener, but I continue to improve my listening skills. And what I mean by that is that, as we said before, our society doesn't know how to listen. They just listen what they want to hear. They don't want to listen to what they may disagree with. And so a lot of times, you know, if I'm with my fiance, might be watching something on TV, when she hears something she doesn't like, she's going to automatically judge the person. And I'm like, well, let's kind of understand their side real quick. I mean, we may not agree with this person, but let's kind of understand. But let's understand this side, and let's just kind of come with a happy medium. So we may not agree and disagree, but let's just kind of put two kind of get both sides to the story, and then kind of come with the conclusion, but don't lead into judgment.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Like,
we're so
Ooh,
natural.
that's hard.
It's so natural to judge because of our biases, our cultural biases, our society biases. But it takes a lot of work, and that's something that, you know, I'm continually doing as well. Is continuing to not, when I see something or I see something on TV, don't just go boom, this is that person.
Good skill for all of us to work on.
It is. I
right?
think for everybody. I mean, as you say, you
I
work
need
in
to
a
do it with
medical
my
field.
son.
I work in a medical field. So working on judgmental biases and not having a bias when you see a patient and automatically assume, oh, this patient is going to be this patient is going to be that. Oh,
Because you could miss a diagnosis.
I can miss a diagnosis, and I can miss a proper way of treating the patient. Oh, because this patient is being mean, this patient must be this, and all that type of stuff. So
Sure.
that's always a learning thing that, you know, I'm continuing doing. And so those are a couple of things that, you know, I feel like I was trying to improve in 2021.
Awesome.
I don't know.
You already did.
Yeah, I already did, Carla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Would
trying,
you-
I was trying to save myself a little bit.
yeah. I mean, if you
I'm
want-
passing the buck. I'm passing the
We kind of
buck.
paused it. We're like, he was the first one.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want me to talk about, you know, I learned how to use a Mac, but that's,
Oh,
you know,
no, that's
come
a story
on.
for a whole nother
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
That's
Okay.
the whole story. Another day. Well, one of the things I could take out, like we mentioned before, just acquiring new skills. Challenge yourself. You know, don't set yourself, you know, for all the audience, the viewers, tonight when you go to bed, you know, think of yourself like, hey, set yourself up like a journal, write something down, or challenge yourself and say, hey, I want to learn something new. Because there's always opportunity. I mean, it's 24 hours in a day, right? But we have reading the books. We have someone acquiring new skills. We have Andrew going to school. You know, Patrick, job transition.
Yep.
So, and then also Eric, the guy behind the scenes fishing. He might want to catch a new fish. I don't know. You know, some around there. But here's the thing. I say for me going in is learning new skills, not always staying in a routine. Because the problem is if you get in routine, you're not challenging yourself. You know, let's get those neurons in your brains firing. Let's do something different. You know, if you binge on TV shows, instead of watching fictional shows, watch something nonfiction. Learn about somebody. Learn about the cooking channel. I don't know, you name it. Instead of watching soap operas, watch a cooking channel or do something different that's going to challenge you. So therefore, you can acquire it as a skill going forward. That's my take on, you know, improving going forward on that. So go ahead.
I was going to say on that, I think that's such a crucial piece of like living in the now, of like taking advantage of what you have. But, you know, I know I don't know each of you individually, and I know a little bit about Andrew's health now, you know, that he has diabetes, but just knowing that Alzheimer's and dementia runs in my family, just the benefit for me to keep my brain active at my age. There's so many things you can do based on your personal situation that not only does it benefit you right now to keep learning, but the challenging of yourself is what continues to put the quality in the amount of time you have left. That it extends that quality into, none of us are getting any younger, but it extends that quality of your life even longer. And I also feel like it helps connect us to each other, because when you have moments of like, oh yeah, watched a documentary on that and I learned this and that was just crazy. I didn't know this. Or, these things that we keep doing to push ourselves we may not know the connection it can give us with another human. And right now, mental health and connection with other humans is like
It's
huge.
Yeah, it's huge right now, but it was also kind of taken away, and that's what's been,
Yeah.
making us worse in a not really as a person per se, but it's making it hard to become better because you're not having that human interaction, not
Yeah.
those conversations. You can listen to people, talk and stuff like that, but you still want that interaction from yourself. You still want to ask them that question. That's what's great about podcasts. And you can actually leave comments with us and we can actually talk to you saying, hey, we can answer your questions. We can bring it up in the podcast so we can,
Absolutely.
answer it for you. But that's the beauty of the internet and all these podcasts, all these YouTubes, everything. You can have some of that interaction, but you need to, also maybe not be too rude on there because that what was that invisible cloak of identity have on the internet. Come on, you still I still constructively to talk to people on the internet where like, hey, I actually generally need a question answered, I need some help, but that's where you have to really consider what you're about to ask, and before you do it as well, even to another person in general. Think before you say, I don't
As
know
Patrick said, listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen.
Take a second, even if it's like a pause, just take a second, think of what you're saying, and bring it up. Don't just instantly judge, and just give up on the conversation. Become better in general.
Chris?
What's that?
Oh,
Let's get better.
I'm Patrick.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't want to keep talking in circles. I feel like we're
You see
getting
that? I'm so engulfed in the conversation. I'm like, okay, who's next? Who's
yeah.
next? All right, you guys. Well,
I mean, I think it's been said.
We put in a new segment, and before we announce it, let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Hey guys, have you ever seen those little towns in Kansas and wondered, what's there? Let me tell you about a hidden gem in Salina, Sky Trampoline. It is the perfect place for both family outings and spending the day with friends. They have large open trampoline jump court, a ninja course, a setup to test or develop your parkour skills, and that's not even close to everything. Additional fun can be had in their foam pit, dodgeball area, a laser maze, and even an arcade. They also have specialty events with black light lit trampolines and a DJ. Sky Trampoline is located at 1820 South 9th Street in Salina, Kansas, and is open every day until at least 9 most days and sometimes even later. Give Sarah a call at 785-491-1118.
All right, so we're introducing the final cut. So
So what is that?
The final cut, well, what we're going to do is it's just our final thoughts of what we're saying. So we're going to put it out there. This is something new we're going to try out. So since you asked, I'm going to start it off with you, Andrew.
Oh,
what
goody.
would be your final cut?
So my final thought for everybody is probably going to be take a second, breathe, and just think, not for yourself, but think about yourself and your lifestyle and what can you improve your life and others around you. And is it something feasible? Don't pick like, hey, I'm going to take everybody to the moon or something. Think of something feasible, and have fun with it. We're coming out of, quarantine. We're coming out of this rough patch. Do something fun for you, yourself, your family, your friends. Do something. Have fun, but do something constructive with it.
So my question for our listeners and our fans is to ask this: do you want to be a worm or do you want to be a butterfly? Because that's very important to think about. If you really think about a worm always just slithers in dirt and it just stays on one track. A butterfly, it grows and it evolves and it flies in the sky and it can go into many different directions. So now when we're in this new year, you need to ask yourself, am I going to just stay as a worm and just slither in the dirt and be dirty 24/7? Or we're going to take the opportunity to grow and to evolve and become a better butterfly. It's our choice and it's your choice.
Nice. Nice.
I'm liking
I like
the
it.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Yours too, Andrew. Yours too.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
See, it had me thinking I'm a butterfly.
Feeling
Right.
all
Oh man.
Buddha-like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a good one, Patrick. Good
I
one.
like
I agree.
Chris.
Well, for me, my final cut is the grind matters, man. It matters that you got to put the time in. If it's, doing that last rep on the weights, hitting the last mile, and you can't hardly feel your legs, you're going to feel better afterwards, and it matters. It matters to get up and get after it every day.
So pretty much I gotta make sure when I hit the gym, I have to think about Chris when he says grind
On that
matters.
last
Yeah,
rep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
This
it
one's
matters,
for
I did get a little gym action
Yes,
on that.
that's
Didn't
right.
a little focused on that. Sorry.
And I'm like,
It matters for work and family and everything
Right.
too.
Well, I like it.
Yeah. So, final cut. First of all, just thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah. No, we
Walking
appreciate
in
it. It's
for
awesome.
really knowing like 1.5 of you. I mean, I've met Carlos before, but haven't got to spend this type of time together. I mean, Andrew and Patrick and Chris, my brother-in-law. Thank you. Thanks for letting me share this space and time with you. It means a lot to me. This is my jam. Like talking to people, especially getting into like motivational type things, and I have my own dreams and goals when it comes to that. But I, for a while, I was the quintessential like first part of the year. You make New Year's resolutions and you write them down and you stick to them and you grind, and but then when you don't get them, you have this like guilt feeling. And so I kind of quit doing those in that same way, and I did it more of, okay, kind of how do I want to grow this year? What do I want to change? And there have been times where I've shifted that, but I've allowed myself to not feel bad for that I'm still finding something to work on, whether it's the same thing I started with or not. So I was thinking we start, not everyone, some people pick like a word of the year. It's kind of trendy to do that. I used to have a bracelet every year that I would have made that had my word of the year on it. And I would, wear it every day and look at it. And one year my word was fruition, because I felt like I had been doing that grind for so many years. I was like, this is going to be the year. This is like my harvest year. This is fruition. Like, this is where all this work that I've done is going to like come. I'm going to come and see some results from this work. And I felt like I did. And so, going into a new year, coming off of an old year, kind of thinking in my head, and maybe this is something the listeners could do too, of think about, what did you start 2021 with, and then what did you end it with? Like, if you could go back, would it be the same word? Is it a different word? Did you learn something, whether it be a skill or through a life experience? Did something change you? But what are you going into 2022 with? And no pressure of, whether it's a word or a goal or something that, you want to learn that's new. What are you going into the year with, so that when we're back here next year, a year or so from now, looking back on 2022, did you feel like that held true for you? Did you move forward with it? Or did something happen and you decided, I'm going to drop that and pick something else up? So just think about, going into 2022, like I said, no pressure, but like, what's your word or goal, or are you kind of on the let's have a new skill thing, or what's your jam for the year?
That's nice. That's well put. Well, my final cut is appreciate. I mean, like I said, everyone is coming on different walks of life. Everybody here, even to the audience and the listeners, we all come from different backgrounds, different thoughts and beliefs. But at the end of the day, when you really narrow it down, appreciate what you have. I mean, because we're still here, we're still alive, and for the people who have lost their loved ones, I mean, they're in our thoughts and prayers. Just appreciate every person that you encounter with, because you never know, and and again, listening. See, everything has intertwined into what we're talking about with you, Patrick. Well put on listening. So we don't live in a perfect world, and the problem is that we can avert fights, we can avert disagreements if we would just pause and, like I said, understand the point of view, why they are. I mean, you don't have to be best friends. There could be co-workers, people that maybe you go to church with, or family, but you will find a happy medium if you would step out of your own realm and put yourselves in their shoes and see. I mean, you may not have to agree with them, but life would be a little bit better instead of being less judgmental,
Yeah, I agree.
and just being more appreciative of what you have. So, and also with you and your, especially with skills, if it's not just college, like we mentioned prior, pick up some different. I mean, if you have your own home, or if you want to change it up, do gardening. I don't know, improve on your cooking skills, improve on, like we discussed before, finances. Change your perspective on new different things that you're doing on everyday rep. Like, for example, Patrick here by the way, this guy's he's stacked. Don't get it twisted. This guy here, he's a big dude. He's a big dude.
Can't see it on the radio, but
It's
there.
I will tell you this though. It goes to show that, he's really engulfed in his training. And with Chris, being a parent, working, and then taking time to be on the show, I see all this, and that's why I appreciate how everything's going. And then especially being a single mom, she's still going at it because she's putting her kid and her first going forward. She's not on the shows, over here crying about, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Not one time she said that on the show. No. So for all the single parents out there, we got to keep it going because we need each other. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on it. So to conclude, any shout outs before we go? I'll start this off with you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'll take, a shout out to, my girlfriend. I can't really say her name, unfortunately, because I don't want to get in trouble, like I said earlier. But she's up in Omaha, and she's having a blast working at the moment, and she loves it, sarcastically there. So I'd like to give a shout out to her, and then also the crew and Eric behind the scenes. Eric does a very good job. He's been learning how to do all this fun
Thanks,
stuff.
Eric.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So how much he's learned.
Well, again, a shout out to Eric, the crew, Carlos. Thank you for having me as always, and give a shout out to my fiance Liz, her family, my family, and again to the listeners and the viewers. Thanks again. But again, reminder: you want to be a worm or a butterfly.
Big shout out to the listeners, audience. Like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Follow us on our other podcasts.
Yep.
Vice, Silver Cosmos, Sports Fellas. Got some big ones on that coming up, so make sure you check those out too.
What's that show you're on real quick, Patrick, what we're doing?
Oh, Backstage Heat. Wait, is it
Nope.
Pat and Carlos or Pat and Los Backstage Heat?
Oh, this guy.
It's a work in progress.
You're a worm right now. Let me be the butterfly.
TBD.
Under construction.
It's Los and Pat.
Okay, Los and Pat's Backstage Heat. All about wrestling all the time. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, shout out. This is fun. I'm like, ooh, who do I? My first shout out. Who do I choose? Really, there's such a small handful of people. Shout out to my son, Leaf, for being a great kid, and my sister and my niece and nephew for helping take care of him so that I can be here and do things. Shout out to you guys for welcoming me and going on this little journey together this evening. And shout out to the listeners, and that hopefully, you can take something from this and grow from it. Because I know, even though it's my first time on the show here, I know that that's something that, is important to these guys is not just sitting here talking to each other, but knowing that and hoping the goal is that more will be listening to this conversation and that they will find purpose in it and subscribe. So go ahead and do that now. It's a good time if you haven't. But like and subscribe to kind of go on this journey. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Of course, I thank you guys for being here. It means a lot to me that I looked forward to this evening that you guys are all here congregated with me. Also, thank the people behind the scenes. Of course, we have Eric and you, Andrew. We always give you a shout out. Thank you for showing us how to get this thing going. I appreciate you. Also, I want to thank Powell. Thank you so much for all the graphic designs that you do. It just goes to appreciate, again, the word appreciate, the people who are involved with you. Also, our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, indeed, follow us. We got the ranges from sports. We will do, in Sports Fellas, we're going to do the Super Bowl preview, which is Chris's team, is
Boom.
the
Whoop,
Cincinnati
whoop.
Bengal
Hoo-day.
fans.
That's right.
The Hoo-day. So all the Bengal fans out there. And then shout out to my friend Josh and the Rams fans. If you're in the West Coast, if you're a Rams fan, that's going to be your show. We're going to talk about that as well. We will do Wichita Vice coming up. We're going to do The Flash, I believe.
Flash and Wally West and a couple of their Godspeed.
And the Gorilla
and Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, Grodd. Yeah, there you go. That guy. And then also we have our upcoming show for the bodybuilders, like this guy Patrick here. We got Packs and Stacks coming in. We are also going to be tuning in also with the Silver Cosmo movie reviews. We're going to do a Kurt Russell kind of deal. So we're going to do Escape from New York, and we're going to do Big Trouble in Little China.
Can I come back for that one?
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is like one of my
There you
favorite
go.
Oh yes,
movies
bring her back.
of all
her back.
time.
There you go. Well,
I'm here for the growth and motivation, but you
Yeah.
had me
That movie, you had me at
Kurt Russell, and I was like, please save me.
I thought you were going to say Soldier. I'm like, oh boy.
No.
Well,
No.
you guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. And like I said, follow us, like, subscribe, and we look forward to hearing you guys in the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.